EOTech. I've never really owned one of these before, so when a buddy of mine decided he wanted to sell his used for a good price, I said, you know what, why not? I could use this. Even though I've had this for about a month and I haven't put it on any gun, I have a gun I'm going to put it on, more on that later. So this is an XPS 2-2, which is their smallest and their lightest. How it comes in a very nice sealed case. This is not weather sealed, so don't dump this in a river or in anything else for that matter. Styrofoam on top. Operation manual, 2009. So this is before that they had their lawsuit with the U.S. government over their thermal drift issue. More on that later. Basic rundown of what it is, how you'd use it, what the parts are, how you zero it, blah 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 blah. Plastic bag, warranty card, and the actual scope. Comes in a very nice foam case. This way nothing gets rattled around. Currently there is the more so quick detach, not really quick detach, but a nice thumb screw on there. Makes it nice and easy to get it on and off a gun. Allen key and another cross bolt if you want to make this not more secure, but more permanent. By the way, you can easily get a penny in here to lock this up, as well as use the same penny, or I think you could use almost any coin. I'm pretty sure a quarter will fit too, to change your windage and elevation. What is a holographic sight? A holographic sight means that there's a laser inside that projects an image on a piece of glass. Now, holographic sights do something really interesting because as you use it, I'm not going to get this on camera now, I'll superimpose this, but as you get farther or closer away, the reticle doesn't change sizes. It's really weird how it works, and it's very trippy, but it'll always maintain its size even when you're using a magnifier. Basic construction is basically bulletproof. This is used by militaries across the world. I'd be lying to you if I said that I knew what models were what and this and that. I know very limited on it, except for the fact that they had a problem with thermal drift, which was when the optic was exposed to extreme cold, extreme hot, or humidity. The reticle would actually shift a little bit, and it was causing real big issues. You could read up on that online all you want. Is that a problem? It absolutely is a problem. Is it going to be a problem for me because I shoot recreationally? No. If you're shooting in a militarized zone where you have to depend on your scope saving your life, I would certainly feel unnerved about it. What kind of battery does it use? Well, it uses a single CR123, which takes forever to get off because the seal on this is really tight. Goes in here like so. As I said before, the construction is real solid. You have this really nice, I believe it's aluminum extruded frame. It'll handle impacts quite nicely. Some of the perks about it, well, it's short, but it is very wide, and it is raised up for a 1/3 co-witness on an AR-15. So on certain guns, you're going to have to break your cheek well to be able to look through this properly. That is a con for most people, unless you're shooting this with an AR-15. I will probably be putting this on my Ruger PC when I finally get one. I believe that this would be a great combination for that gun. Zero it at 50 yards. Hope that the bottom drop on the reticle is good for about 75 or 100. And I can go from there. Speaking of reticles, you have a big selection of which ones to choose from. This being an XPS 2-2, it has the 68 MOA ring with the 2 dots in the middle. I really like that. It's a quick reference for a drop at X amount of distance when you figure out what gun you're shooting with what loads. This does not come with night vision, so don't expect that. Don't expect this to have that for the price. Speaking of, on Amazon, this is about $515 right now, and it is a big chunk of change. Keep in mind, though, this is made in the USA, so that will appeal to a lot of people, myself included. Now, granted, I said I haven't used this all that much, and I haven't. This is basically an unboxing, and I wanted to go through this scope real quick. One thing I can see being an issue, me being a clean glass freak, it's very difficult to get your fingers in the back lens over here. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot of filth on there. I'm gonna have to clean that out later. If you're running this in the woods or anywhere dirty for that matter, all you need is something to splash in there, rain to fall in on it, and you're gonna have a hard time seeing out of this. So, as opposed to a traditional red dot where it's in a tube, this is a lot harder to clean out. A cover would solve that issue, but then you have to worry about taking it on and off sometimes. How you turn it on? Very simple. There's an on button. You press it once. The reticle illuminates. It illuminates at about the middle power setting. To shut it off, you press both buttons at the same time, and it will shut off. If you are buying this used, or even new for that matter, there are a lot of counterfeits on the market. EOTech has been really nice at providing a very detailed page on their website about how to spot a counterfeit and what to look for. I will link that in the description below because it is very helpful. A couple of years ago, I bought a used one on, what was it, Arms List? Yeah, it was Arms List. It wasn't Gunbroker. It was Arms List. Guy shipped it to me. It was like, I think it was around $150. It was for a 512 model, which has the opposing AA batteries that, as you shoot, sometimes the recoil would jostle the battery and the screen would, the reticle would go off. I get it. I look at it. It looked really good up until it said green or red, and you could change the color of the reticle. And I was like, EOTechs don't do that. And sure enough, I did some more research on it, found out it was fraudulent. And fortunately enough, the guy was nice enough to actually refund me my money, and I sent him back the scope. So I lost about, I think it was like $10 in shipping. I lucked out really good on that one. Keep in mind, I wish I wasn't even in that situation to begin with. But, you know, you live and learn. I make sure to try to ensure that everything is 100% legit before I buy it. This was fortunate to be owned by a friend of mine that I was able to get my hands on and toy around with a couple of weeks before I even bought it. And for the price of about $300 I paid for it, I think this is a real good value for money. To find out if this is really worth the price of $515 or thereabouts, it really depends solely on you, the end consumer buying it. For me, at $300, this is a no-brainer. Even if I decide to turn around and sell this, I can at least get my money back, which is nice. But if I was buying this brand new for $515, it's a lot of money, but you have to remember something. This is American made. So you're putting a lot of people at work. You're keeping a lot of things inside the country, which is a good thing. Overall, right out of the box, I really like this. I can't wait to play around with this a little bit more. I love how it feels. Overall, it's not that heavy. I believe this comes in at about 9 or 10 ounces. I really like the reticle. I love how bright it gets. I love that it goes down basically to nothing. When you put this all the way down to low, you can't even see it with the naked eye, even in pitch black. It's really, it gives you a lot of adjustability, especially if you mount this really close to your eye to get as much of an eye box as possible, or you can mount this as far out as possible for a scout style setup. You have to remember, it won't change the size of the reticle, and it's still as easy to see whether it's right in front of your eye or 2 feet in front of you. Not that I would recommend putting this on a pistol, but you could if you had to. And that's the beauty behind something like this. Especially with how big the window opening is, you have a great field of view. It's very little obstruction around the actual frame of the glass. The aluminum housing does add a bit of girth, but you have to think about how much strength is added with that. Could you take this off if you really wanted to? Absolutely. If you're the type of person that's going to take your gun out of the case, use it at the range and put it back in the case and put it back in your safe and never even think about dropping it, you could take this off to slim it down even more and have an even smaller frame around the window. That's what I really like about this. A lot of traditional red dots, they have a really big area around it where it limits your field of view. That was one of my main complaints about the Strike-Fire 2 from Vortex. It's got a really nice red dot, it's got really clear glass, but it's just massive and it just takes up so much space. It wasn't so much a weight issue, but if you're looking through it, you get tunnel vision. You can't even see what's around you. Speaking of glass, this glass is basically perfectly clear. There is a slight tint to it, not completely minor. It's not going to really change your color too much, but there is zero magnification to it. There is zero distortion. If you compare this to the Burst Fastfire 2, was it 2 or 3? Check out that. That had a huge amount of magnification to it, huge amount of fisheyeing to it, which is my biggest complaint on those style red dots, those style reflex sights. This has none of that. So if you have this on a gun and you have to tilt it a little bit to get your shot, you can still pick up on the reticle and nothing's going to get distorted. I love it. It's great. And me being a freak about glass, I gravitate towards that. That concludes this quick unboxing video of this EOTech XPS 2-2. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing the full review on this soon, probably in the next week or two. I also have a huge video coming up comparing 4 different magnification of SWFA scopes. Expect that one coming within the next month or so. I can't wait to get that video out. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you next time.